Abortion has long been a sensitive issue in this country. It has divided Americans for decades and has recently sparked intense debate over organizations like Planned Parenthood.
Critics of abortion call it murder. But as Liz Plank of Mike.com found out, they stopped short of calling the mother a murderer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Here in Rochester, New York, a few hundred people have gathered at the Right to Life convention, and their views on abortion are pretty cut and dry.
With liberty and justice for all, born and unborn.
So do you think abortion is murder?
Yeah, I do. I think it is.
Is it like murder?
Well, any killing of a life is murder. That is whether it's in war, whether it's an abortion, whether it's whatnot. Mm-hmm. So of course. Mm-hmm.
I think that abortion is murder, personally.
Should we ban abortion?
Should we, I would turn, should we kill 5-year-olds who are just a pain in the neck? Should we kill teenagers when they, won't clean up their room?
Do we pass a law? Do we make abortion illegal?
I don't know. I think abortion should be illegal just because I think, is it legal for me to just kill you right now? Of course not. That's crazy. I hope not too.
What do we do? So having, decision to have a baby is a simple decision.
It's about as simple as my deciding not to whip out my trusty pocket knife and go after you.
On the surface, these people believe that life starts at conception and that abortion is murder. But when we got beyond the rhetoric, the people we spoke to were loving, kind-hearted, and sympathetic. And the way they view a woman who has had an abortion is very different than how they would view a woman who hires a hit on her own child.
I don't necessarily think that people who are having abortions are murderers.
I'm not going to sit here and say we should throw all those people in jail, because that's just impractical, right?
No pro-life person will ever incriminate the woman.
So abortion is murder, but women who get them aren't murderers. Not everyone believes this is a reasonable leap in logic. This is Wendy Davis. She made national news by holding an 11-hour filibuster to protect abortion rights in Texas.
I'm not yielding for any questions at this point.
The bill senator does not yield.
Just under the 11-hour mark.
The lieutenant governor has agreed that SB 5 is dead.
For Wendy, this issue hits close to home.
I've had an abortion. I faced a very difficult choice in a pregnancy that was much wanted. Post 20 weeks, when I discovered that my daughter was suffering from an irreparable and non-life sustaining brain deformation or malformation. And it was one of the most heart-wrenching decisions I've ever had to make, and I made my decision out of love.
And although all of the people that I spoke to at the convention were against exceptions, most pro-life Americans support them.
60% of Americans who identify as pro-life support legal abortions in at least some circumstances. Pro-life advocates are quick to compare abortion to murder, but when forced to analyze the consequences of their own position, they quickly jump from this.
If you consider killing murder, then I would say abortion is murder.
To this.
Wouldn't the woman who gets an abortion then be a murderer? Is she a murderer? Or?
I feel like that's a very harsh term.
So should pro-lifers really be equating abortion to murder? Wendy says no.
The idea that a politician would step into that decision for me and displace my ability to do out of love what I knew was right for a daughter that I wanted very much is it's not only insulting, it's disgusting.
Do you think abortion is a moral issue?
I think abortion is a personal issue.
Senior correspondent for Mike.com, Liz Plank, is here with us. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Really interesting video, really interesting question. So they don't view the mothers who choose to have abortions as murderers. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we went in there without an agenda. We actually just wanted to know what pro-lifers thought, if they believed in exceptions in the case of rape and incest, and actually they don't. No one we spoke to believed that a woman who has been raped or a child who has been raped should not be taking that baby to term. Which was a shocking sort of revelation. But then when we asked them, okay, so if you're always taking a life and this is murder in every case, then what happens to the women? And that's really when their position really kind of broke down, and you see it happen on camera. These people are, the people that we spoke to were caring and loving and said that their position came out of love for these women. But when you have that opinion, when you say that it's like murder, then there are big implications to that. How do we punish murder? We punish murder with prison. We incriminate these people. Should we incriminate the women? No. So I thought it was very interesting to sort of highlight the inconsistency within their own movement and their own position, and hopefully this brings pro-lifers to question their own views on this issue.
Murder is a very strong and harsh word, and it's not something that you want to throw around lightly by any means. Did you feel as though when you posed that second question to them regarding the mother being a murderer, do you feel as though that they suddenly saw something in a totally different light? Because I think for somebody that never thought of it that way, could be a little shocked to think, oh my gosh, well, no.
Yeah, right.
And maybe this is just a new...
Or did they think the doctors are those because, doctors have been under threat in the past. Did they think that the doctors are the murderers? But I guess the question is whether women feel that they are.
Absolutely. And I think you're bringing up an excellent point. A lot of them, and when I would push and be, okay, so then who goes to prison? How do we, enforce these laws if you want abortion to be illegal? And a lot of them did, go to the doctors. And I think that that's a very dangerous position. And we've seen this rhetoric that's been used to terrorize clinics and to go after doctors and to even kill doctors. Dr. Tiller was murdered, using this rhetoric of he's killing people, therefore we have to kill him. There are, again, real implications to these positions. And it's sad to see that so many people are using this position in a very public way. So we have politicians, celebrities, and public officials basically saying that equating abortion with murder, and then that follows with people believing this blindly and not questioning this position, and some taking the means that are very dangerous.
So, Liz, in your piece there, you cite the Gallup poll that shows that 60% of Americans support abortion in some circumstances. There's a study out by the Pew Research Center that says 62% of Americans between the ages of 18 and 29 say abortion is not that important compared to some other issues. Yet, politicians that are running for president of the United States, particularly on the GOP side, have used this issue during their campaign. What do you think of that?
Absolutely. I mean, politicians, especially, as you mentioned, on the right side of things, are using this issue as a wedge issue, but also to galvanize very extreme resources, basically, and very extreme people who are funding their campaigns to give them money and to support their campaigns. But there's a very big danger to their position. I mean, every person running for president on the GOP side is against abortion and says that they hate abortion. It's okay to hate abortion, but by saying that, you shouldn't be taking away the right to for women to have that right, and to get access to that service, because it's newsflash legal. Like, abortion is legal, and making it illegal has very serious ramifications for our society, for women especially.
How did this idea come about? I mean, it's a great question. And I don't know if it's ever been brought up before.
Yeah, in that way.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been brought up in ways that are very pernicious, in personhood amendments, for example, and I think most people aren't aware of what personhood would actually mean. So Marco Rubio, who's actually leading in the polls, if we look at his performance at the last debate, at least, he's been a supporter of a personhood amendment that would make women who have an abortion, but also women who have miscarriages or women who use an IUD, fall into this category of a person who's taking away life, a person who is a murderer, who could go to prison, who can be incriminated for this. So it's very scary to see these extreme positions become, being used by mainstream candidates.
Definitely will spark some conversation.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Liz Plank, thank you so much. Really
fascinating.
Thank you so much.
We
look forward to more of these.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Thank you.